What's going on, everybody? Who's ready for a different kind of collection video? A different kind of movie collection, not just horror movies. Today, I'm going to show you my Harrison Ford movie collection. Harrison Ford, if you may not know, is my all-time favorite actor. Ever since I was a little kid, introduced to Star Wars and Indiana Jones, I've idolized the man my whole life. It's just, he is what he is, and I've slowly but surely I've been collecting and hunting down some titles that have been hard for me to find over the last couple of years. I wanted to boost up my collection to my liking. Now I'm going to show you a good 30 or so movies, if not more. I don't own every single Harrison Ford movie. I basically have hunted down everything that matters to me. So in this video, we're gonna be showing this. So if you want to see some movies, and if there's anything that I don't have that you've seen that you'd recommend, if you're a big Harrison Ford fan, you'd like this, drop that in the comments. Let me know, because I'm open to anything. There's nothing from this man that I'm not willing to try, because it's just everything about him has been pure perfection for me. So I'm excited for this. I've been waiting a while, and there was just a few more there that I had to hunt down, before I did this video. I know, because I've been asked by a couple of people to do like a whole entire movie collection video. I've done 3 horror collection videos on this channel, and each one of them has been crazier than the last. And if I were to do an entire movie collection of every movie that me and my wife have picked up in our physical media, the video would be hours upon hours upon hours. I could just never ever do it. But I do think it would be fun to, throw in some collection videos, smaller collection videos of particular actors that I collect a lot of their filmography. And I think that's something I'd really like to do. And no one better than Harrison Ford to start this off with. So that's what we're going to do. Are you ready? I'm ready. Let's do it. We're going to start things out with Clear and Present Danger. Now, this is a very, very interesting movie. I've really, really enjoyed this. I didn't appreciate it too much when I was a little kid. It was a little hard to understand, but, just Harrison Ford is just pure action all the way. Excellent, excellent film. If you have never seen this, I highly do recommend it. And I do want to remind everybody, I should have mentioned this before, that these movies are not going to be in any particular order. They're going to just be mixed all around. We have Working Girl here, we got Sigourney Weaver there, it's just another, seeing Harrison Ford in a role like this, running off these ladies, it's fun. It's a different side. It wasn't Dr. Jones. It wasn't Han Solo. It was something different, This is a very, very fun movie. I highly recommend it. Presumed Innocent. I believe this was 1990. Correct me if I'm wrong. Very good film. Sabrina. This was actually relatively hard for me to find. I was at one of my favorite used game shops, and I'm just digging around through it, and I'm just like, oh, here we go. Found it. An extremely, extremely underrated, overlooked movie, The Mosquito Coast. Harrison Ford, River Phoenix. Just the dynamic between that family, with Harrison Ford being an inventor in the jungle, it was just a blast. I think this was in 86. Very, very, if there's one movie out of this whole collection that I recommend you watch that's just overlooked and not appreciated enough, it'd probably be this one. A blockbuster exclusive of Crossing Over. One of the, later on in his career, not an 80s or 90s movie. But this right here with Brad Pitt, The Devil's Own, an awesome movie. One of my favorite rom-coms, if you'd say. I'd classify this in a rom-com action fun movie. Ian Heche, Harrison Ford, the plane crashing. This was like, I love Naked and Afraid. So this movie felt like it was kind of like that, having to have them like force them to have to survive after their plane crashes. This is a really, really good movie as well.
I recommend it. Now, probably, this is definitely a top 5. It's got to be for me. Probably a top 5 standalone Harrison Ford movie here. The Fugitive. I mean, I think Tommy Lee Jones won the Oscar for the supporting actress, or actor, excuse me, in 94 for this, because this movie was 93. This is excellent, excellent. If you've never seen this, highly recommend it. Of course, you have to have Blade Runner. We got, the director's cut in here as well. We got both the director and theatrical cut in here. I do not have 2049. I haven't picked that up yet. I always, I stick with the original, but I did enjoy the new adaptation with Ryan Gosling. It's still all right. Patriot Games, fantastic. Pure example of why, in my opinion, Harrison Ford is, beyond a shadow of doubt, the greatest action movie star in the history of film. It is what it is. Firewall. Hollywood Homicide. Look at Josh Hartnett in there with him. K-19, The Widowmaker. Liam Neeson there with him too, Great duo. Ender's Game. Another one. Air Force One. Another one of the greatest Harrison Ford movies ever made. One of my older Harrison Ford movies. This was before Star Wars. Force 10 from Narbonne, with Robert Shaw. You get the mixture with Star Wars and Jaws in there. You got Robert Shaw, Harrison Ford, This is, I found this for like 50 cents at a flea market that I go to. I've yet to see this movie. I picked this up because I saw my guy in there. I'm like, all right, we got to get this. I want to try this sometime. I'm probably going to watch this on my own. My wife probably won't enjoy it too much, but it's still going to be interesting. Witness. I believe this was 1985. Correct me if I'm wrong. Very good, very, very good movie. Another one of Harrison Ford's, just the acting chops. It just shows the man's range regarding Henry. If you've never seen this movie, I believe this was 1990, 1991. It just shows a different side to the man. You know what I mean? This is a perfect movie that proves that this man is not just Dr. Jones. He's not just Han Solo. He can do everything. This is just the perfect example of that. Extraordinary Measures. We got Brendan Fraser in there with Harrison Ford. Random Hearts. Frantic. This was very, very hard for me to find. I had to special order that bad boy. Now, obviously, where you're all wondering, where the hell are they? Yes, here we go. Got my Star Wars original trilogy box set here with A New Hope, Empire, and Return of the Jedi. Gotta rock it. Gotta rock that, with everything in there. It is what it is. Can't forget about little old Han Solo, And along with The Force Awakens, where I will take it to my grave that Harrison Ford does not, and I repeat, does not hate Star Wars, does not hate the character of Han Solo. He just knew, just like a lot of us fans knew, that his arc was complete. And he didn't just come back for The Force Awakens because Han Solo has to die. If you watch that movie, you know how he died. He tried to save his son. He tried to prove a point to his son. He went out in a blaze of glory the right way. And here we go. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Indiana Jones. Oh, yes. And the Temple of Doom. The Last Crusade. It just makes me wonder. It just makes me wonder if what this movie would have been. The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, the second most disappointing movie-going experience of my entire life. I was very, very disappointed in this film. But it just makes me wonder what Indiana Jones 4 would have been like if the original plans of, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, if the original plan were if River Phoenix didn't pass away, you know, they were going to do some sort of, not necessarily a prequel, but like something different with the fourth Indiana Jones installment with River Phoenix playing another young Indiana Jones, and not necessarily Harrison Ford passing the torch, but like showing how how it really all became what it was. And I think that would have been very, very interesting. But sadly, we did lose River Phoenix. You know, we lost him way too young in life, and it would have been interesting if the fourth Indiana Jones installment, what it would have been like if River Phoenix if he had passed the torch to him in some way or another. It would have been interesting. But instead, just recently, in the last few years, we did get the great send-off of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I personally, I was more than pleased with this. Was it perfect? No. Was it going to be perfect? No. Did I get what I wanted? Yes. Do I think Harrison Ford is satisfied with this character the way it's ended like this? I personally, I do think so. Yes. It's been a very, very crazy ride. I mean, from 1981 to 2023, it's great. And it's all things have to come to an end. The man is going on 84 years old now, I believe, and he knows he had to wrap it up his way. And I'm going to wrap it up with my last Harrison Ford movie in my collection, one of my all-time favorites, What Lies Beneath. Harrison Ford, Michelle Pfeiffer, the bad guy. Harrison Ford being the bad guy in this movie. Would you ever think so? I wouldn't have thought so until I saw this movie.
So yeah, I did kind of have to go kind of fast. I couldn't go into vast detail on every single film in there. I would have been here for hours. I just had to run through them. I had to do what I had to do. Could give you a couple little tidbits on a few things, but that's my Harrison Ford collection. Like I said, if there's anything that I didn't have that you'd recommend, let me know down in the comments below. And I do have a couple other actors, maybe actresses, that I would love to do this with. We'll see what kind of feedback we get on this video, and we'll go from there. Until next time, you take it easy. Peace out.